Hey viewers, if you want your stories, experiences of infidelity, breakup, cheating, to be narrated and get featured to others in our Mr. Cool's Planet community, feel free to submit your stories to the mail given in description. Either way, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. Let's go.
Welcome to Mr. Cool's Planet, where we explore the complex and often challenging terrain of love, loss, and heartbreak. We hope to create a space where people can come together and find comfort, solace, and healing. Story 1. Backstory. I come from a military family. That being said, my life was a bit different, with me being the man of the house whenever dad was away. I have a little brother with autism, a baby brother, and an older sister who's legally blind. We didn't always live in the nicest areas, so I made it a point to do whatever I could to take care of them. With that being said, I had additional responsibilities that didn't give me much time for friends. Perfect equation to end up being awkward and quiet. 5 years ago I enlisted into the Army National Guard. I wanted active duty but wanted to go to college prior to being active, so it seemed to be a good fit. I completed my training when I was 17 and went back to my home state. While in school I met a kind and gentle woman who, we clicked well, and after a few dates over 3 months started to date officially, the first relationship I had. She enlisted not too long after and we became dual military couple. For a while things were fine. Sex life was active, we'd go on date nights often, and our families were in good standing. A few months later we were at Thanksgiving dinner with my family when the topic went towards music and artists, a topic I personally have no knowledge of. Personally, I only use music while working out and never paid attention to it, simply used for background noise. She would talk about her love for political poetry and African American artists. When I was asked for my thoughts, I just kept it blunt. I don't really care, I'm not political and can care less. I just like music that sounds decent while I lift. I want to get hyped, not listen to someone's views mid-set. Admittedly, I can see where this could come off wrong, but it's just who I am. I'm direct, awkward, and never cared for politics in any form. Apparently this wasn't the answer she was looking for. I found this out when she slapped the shit out of me in front of my family. The look of shock on everyone as she continues her rant on how insensitive I am to other groups and how I'm close-minded. My sister tried to call her out on her shit, saying something along the lines of, "How can a Mexican dating a black girl be close-minded?" Not wanted to deal with any of the BS that would surely ensue after I just got up and announced that I think it's time for her to go home. The drive home to drop her off was awkward. She tried to pretend like nothing happened while I'm over here trying to process how embarrassed the whole situation was. I thought about leaving at that point but thought maybe it would get better. Spoiler alert, it got worse. No longer sweet and caring, she went to more demanding and spoiled. She started demanding sex almost every time we met. Wanted more expensive dates. Prior we would go to parks, hike or watch movies. Now she wanted Six Flags and upper-end restaurants. Whenever I said no, she would throw a fit or try to cause a fight. This went on for a while before I got tired of it and attempted to break it off. Seeing how she got physical over music preferences, I thought it to be better to leave over a phone call. Started it off direct and just said I was leaving. This is when she drops a bomb. "I had a miscarriage in November, I'm sorry, that's why I've been different." "What do you mean you had a miscarriage? We always used a condom." "I had clumps in my period and it looked like a miscarriage." "I'm sorry, but that doesn't change much. Instead of communicating, you decide to hide it and treat me like shit." "But anon we had a baby." "I'm just throwing it out there right now, I'm fucking stupid. I was 18 and had no clue how the fuck any of this works. Well, now I feel guilty and broke." I stayed with her. Ensue utter hell for the next 12 months. For the sake of length I won't do a play-by-play, but here's a few examples of things that followed. Always wanted to monitor my accounts, got more physically and emotionally abusive, used the miscarriage as a poker chip, demanded sex once, ignoring me saying no in a movie theater and going through with it anyways. If caught I would lose my military career. If I made a scene I would more than likely still lose my career. berated me whenever I didn't agree with politics, tried to make me isolate from the very few friends I had, always wanted to try unprotected sex and cream pies, stayed firm on not cracking and stayed safe, tries to get people around us to see me as a bad guy anytime we used Plan B. If I had a doubt about the condom, she would complain about killing her baby, etc. Few months later we both get orders. She gets 6 months orders and I get 3-month orders. The timeline is that I leave 1 week prior to her coming home, so we will not be seeing each other of 9 months. This will be important later. While she's on orders I hang out with friends and they try to help rebuild what she tore down, trying to build me up to leave her. Being stupid and 18, I was hesitant to leave the first relationship. They called me stupid but said they'd always have my back no matter that happens. I ship out, she comes back. We have zero contact for the 3 months I'm out. I meet a lot of great people. One being someone who I would consider a brother in the future. We will call him Felix. After the orders I get back home and head over go the GF apartment. I met an utter bombshell. Hey, welcome back. We're pregnant. I am 4 months pregnant. What? At this point I'm not thinking clearly. All I'm thinking about is how the hell I'm going to support a family at 19 and how much money I wasted on condoms and Plan B if the damn things didn't work. On the way back from her place I picked up my first can of dip, cigs, while calling Felix. I explained the situation through barely coherent ramblings. God bless his heart, he was patient enough to let me finish when he broke the news. Look, Anon, I know you're in shock. I know you're not this fucking stupid. You were on orders for how long? And how long was she on orders? How long did you two not have contact? She's 4 months along, right? No contact for 9 months, right? Take a step back, calm down and think. Hangs up. I'm now in my car, embarrassed as can be that I didn't think about the timeline until Felix mentioned it. I call her the next morning confirming dates before I break the news to her. You're 4 months pregnant when we've been on opposite parts of the country for 9 months. Now either my sperm is super sperm that shot 2,000 miles to you, that baby is Jesus 2.0, or simply that's not my baby. Over a year of abuse caught up with me. I no longer cared about trying to please her or messing up. I just did not give a shit. She tried convincing me that it could be my kid, leading into a long convo best summed in, not my problem. I break up with her and made it clear I wanted to be left alone. Fast forward a few days and I get a DM from her parents. Anon, we understand how you feel, but this is your responsibility and we need you at the next appointment to get tested for the sickle cell trait. I was going to ignore it until my family brought up that it might be possible for them to go to my unit or take me to court if I didn't have proof that it wasn't mine. So I ended up going under the agreement that I will only get tested if the ultrasound puts the date within a realistic time frame. I get there, they do their thing, I wait for the doctor to come back. Doc, so I understand you're the dad. Me, well that depends, how far along is she? Doc, 4.5 months, me, I just got back from 3-month orders and she got back from 6 months. We didn't have contact for 9 months. Things get awkward, Doc can't look me in the eye. I ask if it's humanly possible, she answers no, so that's that. Not my kid. I think it's all over. I was wrong. For the next few months she would try to contact me via family, new numbers, fake socials. She sent her unit to attempt to contact me. I had on 2 occasions her friends or family try to enter the property. At this point it got so bad I was just done. I lost my first relationship, I lost the few friends I had. My performance at work has dropped so low I was viewed as a joke. I stopped working out and was stressed so bad I went from 140 pounds to 120 pounds since I got home. I was just ready for everything to be over. I had the barrel of my hunting rifle in my mouth, just ready to end all the bullshit. My phone lights up, making me want to pull the trigger more out of fear of it being the ex or her family. Then I noticed the ringtone. It was the You Say Run from My Hero Academia. Felix ringtone. I pick up the call. Hey Anon, I'm just calling to check in on you, how you doing? You feeling alright? I broke down. First time in my life where I actually broke down crying. I tell him everything. What was going through my head, what I was about to do, everything that happened since our last phone call in the car. We had a 3-hour phone call about how to handle the situation and where I can get help. The next day I was in a therapist's office breaking down again, getting help that admittedly I probably needed over the years. I got a restraining order, took her to court, and she openly admitted to the harassment and the fact the child wasn't mine. Court decided to not grant the order to not hurt her military career, but gave her a warning that if she does anything I will be granted one. With that being said, I moved my ass to a different state to stay on the safe side. Fast forward a few years. I completed college and decided to stay National Guard. I now work in the cyber IT field. Married an amazing woman who is loving, supportive, and wants to grow and improve as a team. Felix would later commit suicide November 3, 2021, something I personally feel guilt for on a daily basis. Last I checked, X was still batshit crazy, stalking my life when she can. I want to share a few things. 1. If your gut and people who you hold close tell you to run, run. 2. Take care of the people around you. It only takes what seems like a minor mistake to cost you something that meant the world. 3. Something Felix told me, a soldier isn't just a title, it's a symbol of someone who endures and embraces hardship and pain and continues to move forward to care for the people around them. Made me realize that if I pulled that trigger, I would have left my siblings, the flesh and blood that I raised, alone without their older brother having their back. Thanks to him I was able to reach out and help whole communities that I used to live in, bettering the lives of the people in them. I'm visiting his grave and family face to face with my wife in the spring. I want them to know what their sons and brothers' actions led to, and in return what effect that had not only on my life but the communities I've reached out to. Their son died a hero to many, I want them to know that at the least. Story 2. I thought we were surviving. A few months ago my wife became really close with a guy friend of hers and essentially ended up consisting of lots of flirty messages and plans to meet up alone, which they did. My wife took a series of steps to conceal the relationship and repeatedly lied about things I knew until I told her what I knew, despite giving her ample opportunity and reassurance that I would be reasonable about it. There were some mitigating circumstances in both their lives which explained why they became close, and she didn't want to be open about the full truth but obviously didn't justify the lines that had been crossed or the lies. Anyway, I received guarantees that was all to stop, and whilst they stayed in touch it was a lot more reduced, and it was quite clear that my wife had just got carried away in a bit of a fantasy and got cold feet, thought better of it when it actually came to anything serious happening. It's taken a few months, but I really feel like we're getting on really well and the trust had built back up, and we've been enjoying lots of time together as a family over summer. However, I've just discovered that my wife went on a night out and invited the guy along, essentially with the promise of something happening between them. It looks like nothing did either due to the intervention of the group they were with, or the guy being the one to get cold feet. It appears my wife was the one driving it, etc. It also appears that more had happened first time around than I thought was the case. I've only just found out, so will obviously challenge her on it when I get chance. We have kids, etc., so it's difficult to imagine the repercussions, and I don't really want to walk away. But I just don't think I can trust her now, and I think people would think I was an idiot if I let it slide again. What should I be doing, or have I reached the point that bailing is the only option? After 1 month. It's been a month since I found out that my wife's emotional affair had resurfaced. She trickle-truthed and gaslit upon me finding out about the initial affair several months ago, and then did it again on the second occasion last month. She's now cut off all contact with the AP. We did a couple of weeks where we were separate save for having to co-parent. These were not great mentally, and I couldn't concentrate on my work or any other aspect of my life. I then agreed we'd try and move forward more positively, as if we're to have any chance it wasn't going to happen the way we were. Since then I've had more good days than bad, but every now and then I get a wave of resentment for her and it hangs for hours or even a couple of days. Is this the future if we stay together? If so, I don't think I can stay the course. I need an advice. My story in a nutshell is that my wife had a brief affair last year, It was more emotional than physical, but she tried her best to hide it and play it down, but eventually the truth came out. She trickled truth each time I found a bit more out, essentially not confessing to anything first. Our relationship was possibly suffering prior to that, as we've got 2 young children and limited support, so we don't get much time to work on ourselves, our marriage. We've committed to giving our relationship a chance, but both of us have admitted that things aren't the same. She's now admitted that whilst she loves me, our family, and would really want it to work, she's not in love. I'm not either, but my feelings come on the back of the affair and I'm trying to work on it. She says she only realized recently, but really I wonder if she's felt like this for longer and this is the reason she 1. Had the affair, and 2. Didn't appear as sorry and be upfront as I would have expected of her once I found out. Kids are happy and healthy, so there's no particular concerns there, and we still manage to get on well for the most part, but I'm wondering whether there's any prospect of a successful reconciliation now. Update. Found my wife is contacting the AP again. I caught my wife twice last year in what were largely emotional affairs with an old family friend after his own divorce. There was a lot of lying and hiding things and only revealing truths when I already knew them anyway. She eventually and very reluctantly agreed to break off all contact with him, and I think I eventually got the full story, though I'm quite sure she never volunteered any information I hadn't already found out. I've not been checking up on her for the last few months, as for the second time I'd begun to trust her again. However, I've gradually noticed the signs that he was creeping back in. Unfortunately, due to who he is to the family, it's not been possible to erase all trace of him. Tonight I've seen the evidence clear as day that they're back to talking about their feelings for one another. I'm pretty sure they haven't met again, but who cares at this point? I know I'm an idiot for thinking there was something worth fighting for, or more for believing that she was even trying. I'm grateful that I've found out again so soon rather than make the effort any longer. I'm done, and, honestly, I'm not all that sad. I feel happier knowing that I gave it a chance and failed than jumped too early. Family and friends will be crushed and I'm gutted for my kids, but I'll do everything in my power to give them the best life. Story 3. Divorce will be finalized next month and all I feel is resentment, anger. Backstory. I was with my ex-wife for 14 years. She thrives off of attention and constantly needs somebody around to talk to her. If she texts me and I go an hour without texting her back, she'd get mad. This went back all the way to when we were dating. I am the opposite. While it may be nice for me to have somebody around all the time, I don't necessarily need it, and I can go days without talking to or seeing anybody. The other guy is obsessed with her. He wrote her letters telling her how much he loves her and how in love with her he is. He would send her selfies of himself making kissy faces. If she goes a few hours without texting her, he'd text her every 20 to 30 minutes telling her how much he misses her and that he's thinking of her. He'd call in the middle of the night, and when she ignores it, he calls again. He showers her with gifts. He has her name tattooed on him. At one point when I found out about him, even though I was obviously devastated, my marriage meant more to me than anything, and I was hoping to try to work things out with her, but instead, she'd rather separate. When I asked why him and not me, her response was that he pays attention to her. He takes care of her. He makes her feel like she's the only person in the world. She also says that she likes the life that she has with him and that she is finally happy. This makes me angry. This tells me that I value my marriage more than she did. That she was ultimately looking out for herself. She tells me that I did not treat her well, and while I will admit that I could have treated her better, I did not talk to her, have a relationship with anybody else. In my eyes, there is always going to be somebody better, because nobody is perfect. Somebody could have treated me better, I could have a lot more in common with them, could have made me happier. But she wasn't my wife, and because of that, I would never consider giving them the time of day. What makes it worse is that he actively pursued her knowing that she was married and she went with him. To any decent human being, anybody who's married should be off limits until they're separated. Her excuse was that she told him that she wasn't happy in our relationship, which meant absolutely nothing to me. It's not his place to try to step in and try to save her. Now, I usually consider myself a pretty good friend. When a friend reaches out in need of help, I drop what I am doing to give them a helping hand. I was there for her when she was going through her own struggles. She is hoping that we can be friends after this, and I told her no. As much as I love her, I can't help somebody who obviously cares about themselves more than they care about me. I told her when this divorce gets finalized, the person that has been there for her through it all, her best friend, will no longer be around, and that helping hand that she has had for the last 14 years won't be available to her. All I can think about is karma. I hope that karma strikes down on the both of them, especially him, and she realizes that I won't be around to help her when it does. She says that she believes that she's finally happy. As petty as this sounds, I hope that she is never happy. However, as much as I believe in karma, I also question it because it seems to me like she is ultimately in a much better place than I am. He pursued my wife knowing that she is married and he won her over. She hurt me, but she is doing much better than I am mentally and emotionally. This seems backwards to me. Do you guys believe in karma? As we come to the end of today's stories, we hope that you've found some solace in the sharing of experiences and the knowledge that you are not alone in your struggles. Relationships can be incredibly rewarding, but they can also be incredibly difficult. We hope that by sharing these stories, we've helped you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the challenges that relationships can bring. Remember, healing is a journey, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing more stories with you soon.